village, assuming you desire to declare your intent, we can then assist you, provide a list of all the agencies that need to be notified. We've been through the same process on a number of other projects in Orange County. And then those agencies have 30 days to respond as to whether they have any issues with the village being the agency. They never do. They may provide some comments on the project as well, though. And then the second request we have is to submit the site plan application to Orange County Planning Department, just so that they can provide any comments that they may have. And that's part of the 239M review process. They also have 30 days to respond. So that's just two of the requests we have. And that just helps get the process rolling so that you all can get their comments to incorporate into the process. My understanding is you can't provide site plan approval until all those agencies provide their input.
Huh? It could be.
Oh, the mobile home?
The back there?
It's, yeah, it would be over. Oh, you're wondering what the zoning is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Jim, you may, yeah, so this is the back.
Portion of it is zoned mobile home, and the balance of it is zoned RA. The portion that's zoned mobile home at one point was part of the same parcel that the existing mobile home is on, but that's on the other side of the Moonda Creek. So the portion that's on the, what would it be, west side of Moonda Creek is still zoned mobile home, never changed.
Do you have a power purchase agreement yet with Orange Rockland?
We have an interconnection agreement with Orange and Rockland. The power purchase agreement, since one thing I didn't go into here, I know we've discussed in the past, is that this is a community solar project. So the interconnection agreement that we have with Orange and Rockland is to tie into them, and they will receive the power. It's not quite a power purchase agreement because although they're taking the power, they're not purchasing it. Per the state regulations, we are allowed to sell the power to the residents in the area. We do have tranche confirmation from Orange and Rockland saying what tranche we're in as a community solar project. And so they're not buying the power, but they are taking the actual electrons, which again, happy to provide that. And if anyone in the audience is interested in potentially subscribing to the project, I do have a sign-up sheet with me. We are actively taking names for that.
Okay, I just have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says the property owner is Mary Gorman, Farm LLC?
Yeah, and you may help me pronounce it, Moringaman?
Moringaman.
Yeah.
Okay.
The big
and
Indian.
Aztec Farm?
Aztec Farm, yes.
Okay, is that you?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, me and family members. It's various family members, myself, my wife's brother, and his wife, etc.
okay. And is one of them Brent Beerley?
Oh, sorry, Brent Beerley is the president of Community Energy Solar. So the project company is Washington Solar LLC. That company has a lease agreement in place with Moringaman Farm and Aztec Farm. And so the project's application came from both Brent Beerley and Southside.
And Ryan Irwin?
Yeah, Ryan Irwin's my colleague, and yeah, well, I'm Joel Collins. Sorry, Ryan.
That's well from the company.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, Ryan. We got double booked. There was a meeting in Mini Sinks, so Ryan's in another part of Orange County right now. And you might see him next month instead of me. But we'll be excited.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
here
we
before.
Uh-huh.
And if you call him Joel or you call me Ryan, don't worry about it, because it happens to us all the time. That's all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like,
We're gonna try.
I'll answer to anything, you know. Solar guy, yeah.
Okay, and then who's gonna be running the farm afterwards? You all?
Well, certainly not me personally, there are other,
Not you.
other folks, but actually, so Community Energy Solar, our company is a 100% owner of Washington Solar LLC, so we own it as of today. I was just going over this with Mr. Casaza earlier today. Our business model, sometimes we end up owning these projects in the long run, but really our business model is carrying them through the permitting process right up to the point when they're ready to be constructed. So we own it now, we'll continue to own it right until it's shovel ready. At that time, there will be another entity who's going to own and operate it, and that company will be NRG. I think I shared that information with Mayor Bucko. Their business model is to own and operate these projects. It's what they do. They're a publicly traded company, and they're very good at it.
Did you have any say after you hand it off to NRG?
Once the project is sold, the membership interest transfer to them, and they own it.
So how do we maintain or make sure that
Continuity.
whatever we're agreeing to is actually built?
Yep.
If you guys are nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
you're not, I don't know if you're still in the picture at that point.
Yeah, I would still be in the picture as the landlord. We have a lease currently with Washingtonville Solar LLC.
Correct.
When Washingtonville Solar gets transferred from the contractor who builds it to the company that operates it, the lease stays in effect. And whatever the site plan requirements are that you approve, that's how it has to be built, and your building inspector and your building department verifies that everything gets built according to the site plan that was approved. So there might be a different entity, but they're under the same rules and regulations that are approved.
You don't have to stay. That's fine.
They might want to
I don't
buy some
wanna-
solar
I
power.
don't want to throw you out. but
I'm
Don't feel like you have
I'm
to.
interested in this.
Okay.
Okay. Tonight out.
That's how you want to spend it.
It's yours.
I just have another
Yeah.
question, sir. Okay, is this land tax exempt?
The farm now is not tax exempt. My understanding is that there'll be a payment in lieu of tax agreement worked out between Community Energy and the village. If it hasn't, I think we've negotiated that already. I'm not involved in that.
Yeah, it was briefly mentioned in the last.
We've discussed.
You had a PowerPoint.
Yeah, we've discussed some of the numbers around it. I do have a draft agreement. This is something we've used with other towns. This was drafted by a guy named Dan Spitzer. He helped to write the guidelines at the state level, with my service, so he's really good.
And
so
although
that-
I haven't been privy to the negotiations, because it doesn't involve me, I think based on the fact that currently the land is agriculturally assessed,
Right.
that the payment in lieu of taxes will be higher than what it's currently being paying in taxes.
It'll be higher.
The rest of the land that's not part of this will continue in agricultural use.
That's right. So it would, there will also be some special districts taxes. So there's the pilot, the payment in lieu of taxes. The solar is, the default position is for solar to be exempt. That's, unless something else is done, it's for it to be exempt. We communicated, with Mayor Bucko, I think starting last fall, maybe in November, saying, hey, you want to negotiate a pilot instead of it being naturally exempt? The answer was yes. We agreed. It's good to have something done locally. There's actually 4 potential taxing jurisdictions that can tax this project and could actually split the pie. So it's the Village of Washingtonville, it's the town of Blooming Grove, it's Orange County, and it's Washington School District. Communicated with those other 3 agencies. No one got back to us in terms of wanting to negotiate a pilot. More than 60 days transpired. Under state law, then the project is exempt from those 3 agencies. So the good news here is there's one pie.
Right, but that's why I
Yeah.
asked about the power purchase, because
Right.
that's when the clock would start, the 60 days.
I don't believe that's correct. The 60 days is actually based is based on once you make your CSER payments, the coordinated electrical system impact review with Orange and Rockland. That was done 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, we made the payment in.
Did
And
they cash a check?
they cashed the check, yes, and but they're a little slow in terms of spending the money, which is probably a good thing, until it's not, but that's correct, we do have the CSER in place with them locked in, so I don't know if someone was informed me, I'm happy to give the information, but in terms of everything we need to have with Orange and Rockland to demonstrate commencement of construction for the purpose of state tax, that box was checked over a year ago.
So we're good with the other agencies, other
That's correct.
taxable.
They could call us at this point if they wanted to and say, hey, we want some of that, and I'll just be totally honest, per state law, we'd have to uncomfortably tell them, no, we communicated this to you a year ago, you can't come back later, plans have set, because we need to be able to negotiate with you now and have the money set here, and that would be the law is very, very clear on this, and we sent a letter directly certified, kind of thing, so.
You'll be able to supply that to Will, our attorney.
Oh, certainly, yeah. Yeah, and I'm happy to have him have a conversation with our tax counsel too, which is probably better than having him talk with me on that, if that's something he's interested in. That would be, yeah. And then I'm happy to leave it, I do have a draft copy of the pilot agreement, probably something we should pick up in the near future here. Oh, yeah, that would be right to me now. No problem. And I'm happy to email electronic copies as well.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
I have a couple. One is, Mr. Casazzo will appreciate this. At one point, he was asked who were the owners. He started naming names and then went to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, who's et cetera? And as a lawyer, you should understand that question. Et cetera could mean anything.
On Maringaman, the owners were my mother and father-in-law, Ray and Janet Steves. He was the village justice here for 35 years.
I don't need to know their pedigree, I need to know their names.
Well, those two, myself and my wife, and her two brothers, James and Earl, and their spouses. So there were 8 partners there. On the Ossitec, there were 6. Earl and Lois were not partners, but Jim and Janice, Sharon and I, and Ray and Janet. This was the family farm you were aware of, and that's how the ownership came about.
I understand that, but you're the one who said, started mentioning names and then said et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
so that could be, I could be involved in that, et cetera.
Well,
It could be
you want to be
anybody.
a family member.
You didn't specify family, you said et
Yeah,
cetera,
no,
et cetera, et
it's
cetera.
all family members. It's all
Then,
Are you
in-laws.
still willing to take family members in, or
Pardon me?
are you still willing to take family members in?
Well, it depends now. We might do some gifting, we have generational transfers here, so there might be some giftings, and if it is, it's within the family. I now have 2 grandchildren.
and the other question was, the pilot program with the taxes, is that on just the structure? And then is there a land tax on that? And since it's not agricultural, will it be a higher land tax?
The pilot only applies to the solar array.
The structure, so there is still a land tax if you take on it also.
And it, other details that we have to ask the attorney, as far as, where it goes under the ground to the road, where it provides service, I don't know. But the array part, we will to understand, that's the only part that would come under, it would lose the agricultural exemption for that particular
That
area.
particular acreage.
Right.
And
Okay.
there's a penalty for going from ag, from farm to non-farm use.
Okay. There's, some of that land is still up for sale, it states, and it says it has sewer and water on it.
Yes, it's supplied by the village water, there's village water access to the property, and there's a sewer pipe that was installed in 1968. It's never been connected to anything on our side of the stream.
Right.
It's connected to the lift station at the mobile home park, but nothing is connected to it from this side.
Okay.
But the pipe runs across a portion of the property.
So the land that's not being used, the other portions that are separated, that could be zoned for commercial or housing or something?
No, it's zoned for RA right now, residence agriculture, single-family lots of 1 acre or agricultural use, and that's what it's currently being used for. It's all agriculture. There's no residence on it. The residence that's there is on a separate tax lot.
It's on the other lot.
So there's a couple of barns, and there's 100 and something acres of cropland.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Anyone else? You stayed the night, so
I
you.
did, you know, I'm
You
thinking
got
about
something
it
to
once.
do.
Although I noticed you started putting your jacket on when you started talking about taxes and rollback, so that's less interesting than the solar project.
That becomes a little dry.
Yeah.
Not to the person collecting the tax.
No, that's true.
You notice their ears perked up.
That's right.
Just for a short little, how did the name Maragon?
Maringaman.
Maringaman, how did that come about?
Maringaman is the Indian who supposedly was in this area when the white settlers first came. If you look down near the Spindler's property, there's a sign there that marks the point where Maringaman had his little teepee. And the former owners of this farm, going back to the 1940s, had registered a farm name of Maringaman.